that killed dozens of people at a camp for displaced Palestinians, of which Benjamin Netanyahu said was a terrible accident. And an investigation is going on right now in Israel among its military on who are those that are responsible. Now, Biden says he will not change course. President Joe Biden is not altering his policy toward Israel following that Israeli strike that killed more than 45 people in Rafah, and the attack did not cross the red line that would affect U.S. support, says the White House. The U.S.-made munitions were used in the strike on this camp for displaced people. But a CNN analyst of the video from the scene at a review by explosive weapons experts shows that it was U.S. munitions. Well, of course. I mean, they get most of their ammunition from us. All right. Haley, that's right. Nikki Haley visits Israel. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, presidential candidate Nikki Haley, met with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and wrote, "Finish them," on Israeli artillery shells during a Memorial Day visit to Israel, according to photos from the former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. So Nikki Haley went there, and she didn't go down there to jump all over the Israelis. She took an ink pen, she took a pen, and she was out there writing on the artillery shells, "Finish them." In other words, finish off Hamas. That is the position Nikki Haley took. Now, there's global outrage, and that's why I'm bringing this up as a breaking urgent news alert. The global outrage. This is the point. The United States is under increasing pressure from many of its own allies, which have been more vocal in their condemnation of the Israeli actions in the days since the accidental strike. The UN agencies, the aid groups, the multiple governments have called on Israel to halt its Rafah offensive. Even French United Nations Ambassador Nicolas de Rivera warned against any further escalation in the city, saying, "It is time now. It is high time for the UN Security Council to take action to adopt a new resolution about the war in Gaza." But more Israeli attacks continued. Another 75 people were killed in Gaza in the last 24 hours. 284 people were injured. Many of them were Hamas fighters, but some were civilians. And according to Health Ministry in this battle, which said that the deaths were a result of Israeli military operations, the new figures, of course, show that the numbers of people who have died since October 7th, this is by the UN now. These are not confirmed by Israelis or Americans, or NATO or anybody. But the Hamas says that 36,171 people have died since October 7th. Many of them are Hamas fighters. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but it's over 50%. But still, you are losing a lot of civilians, and this is a concern, of course. But at the same time, what do? Do you let Hamas stay in power? Or do you finish them off like Nikki Haley said? Well, the Emirate Crescent Hospital in Rafah is now closed as current Israeli operations in the vicinity are obstructing any access to the hospital anyway. The head of the Health Emergency Committee in Rafah has told news media here, saying that the facility has become a red zone. But now the non-government operations are starting to pull back. Some of these agencies, like the World Central Kitchen, said it is pausing its operations at the humanitarian organization's main kitchen in Rafah due to the ongoing attack. In the face of Israeli operations militarily, the World Health Organization, WHO, said it was finally able to deliver medical supplies to Al-Ali Hospital in Gaza, its first mission to the northern part of that enclave in the last 2 weeks. Now, 2 further attacks in Rafah have killed at least 29 Palestinians. That was yesterday, according to authorities in Gaza. The first one hit on Sunday. The second one, of course, hit yesterday. Now, there's concern whether or not this was in the safe zone. We have conflicting reports. Israeli says, no, this was not the safe zone. Matter of fact, we took out several dozen Hamas operatives. But yes, there were civilian casualties. Right now, in Rafah, at least 940,000 people have been displaced from Rafah in the past 3 weeks as a result of the intensification of hostilities and because of the war that is raging. Israeli forces have thrust into the center of Rafah now, even with tanks, and are hunting down the Hamas fighters, the Hamas terrorists, in the city of Rafah, believed to be the final stronghold for the weakened, embattled Hamas. Question's going to be, will the world be able to put the pressure they're trying to put on Israel to stop Israel from succeeding in destroying Hamas? Or will Netanyahu be able to finish the deal and then to put a whole new governmental structure together that would include the Gaza Strip under Israeli control? Now, the United Nations does not want that. They want a two-state solution. And it's possible that Biden is now going to wait and hold out and let Israel completely destroy Hamas and then go back to their heavy pressure of a two-state solution. We know that that's what Biden wants. We know that's what the world wants. We know that's what 90% of the world wants done. But we also know that Israel is, in their mind, is thinking, if you're going to let them come and attack us, kill 1,200 of our people, take 250 people hostage, of which 130 some are still hostage, dead or alive, they're still hostage. We're supposed to now give them half the nation? I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at this from a biblical prophecy standpoint, is this Jacob's troubles? I mean, I can read, and I already see what's happening to Iran. The judgment of God is already on Iran. The president of Iran is dead. The foreign minister is dead. And that nation is under judgment of God because of its leaders. Not all the people in Iran are murderous. No. And there are a segment of Christians there that are devoted to Jesus Christ. But God judges nations. He will judge the nations. So leadership does matter. And that's why it's so important what's going to take place this coming fall here in America. But at this moment, Iran obviously felt the judgment of God as taking out their two most vocal leaders, fulfilling prophecy in the book of Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 38, where it is prophesied that the king and the prince, or in today's language, the president and the foreign minister, would die. And I'm going to read it for you. For those of you who have not ever heard this prophecy, I've already shared it before, but I believe, you got to do it every time because there's always new listeners, new people pick up and don't watch every video, and not everybody follows everything I'm doing. And I know that new people are coming all the time. So here's what it says so that you'll know the prophecy. In the book of Jeremiah, in the 49th chapter, there's some powerful prophecies. One has to deal with Damascus. That is in Jeremiah 49. That's verses 23 through 27. Deals with the destruction of Damascus. But then in the latter part of the chapter, in Jeremiah 49, verses 35 through 39, deals with the judgment on Iran. And I'll just read, I won't read the whole thing, but let me read this, starting at verse 37. For I will cause Elam, which is Iran, to be dismayed before their enemies and before them that seek their life. And I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam, which is Iran. My throne. Okay? And I will destroy from thence the king and the prince, saith the Lord. Well, Pastor, that was back then. I mean, read the next verse. But it shall come to pass in the latter days. And I will bring again that captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. So when will the king and the prince be destroyed? In the last days. What just happened? About 10 days ago, the president and the foreign minister, President Rassi, Ibrahim Rassi, and the foreign minister Hassan, both died on the same day in the fog, just 1 month after they fired 320 rockets at Israel. We're in the last days. We're in the end times. The global anger will get even higher. Even higher. Saturday was silent, and surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of a dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Oh, that's right. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live. Think about it. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Ezekiel 37, the dry bones coming to life. A mighty army in Israel for the last days. A rebirth of a nation.
My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that he wants to. Just ask the man who
Whole
was
shift.
thrown on the bones of Elisha. If there's anything that he can do, just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden. What happens when God says to move? I feel him moving it now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing it now. Do it now. Do it now. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is the praise, make a
Dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Listen to these bones. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live. It's getting serious now, guys. The end days, these times we're living in, are getting very serious. Oh, yes. Oh, that's right, dry bones. The name of this song is Rattle. All right. And I want to thank Jeffrey Clark-Hoper, his wife, Kelsey, and all of the beautifully, incredibly talented musicians that helped me put that together. And they sang with me in this one. It's called Rattle. It's on my brand new album, which is now, I'm going to have to quit saying brand new. That's why I got to make a new album, hopefully this winter. It's called Harmonize and Prophesy. Okay? Get your copy today. Get your tickets for Pole Shift. We are literally seeing the sun exploding, and the poles are starting. I mean, we're wobbling already. You're going to see this in the presentation. You're going to see this, and you're going to say, wow. When they show you the information and the charts and the graphs and then the biblical ramifications and connection all in this webinar, you're going to say, wow, Jesus is coming soon. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. Stay right here on the coming apocalypse. You got 3 days left to get your ticket. Don't mess around.